In this video, I'm going to show you my approach on how I mix the backing vocals. But before we get started, my name is Ed, you're watching Stokes Sounds, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you want to support the channel, head over to our website, stokesounds.com. Let's dive in. So I've got a track pulled up here. It's by an artist called Stefano. It's a song called I Wait For You off his latest album, which was released last week. I actually mixed all of the songs on the album, so I'll leave a link to the Spotify in the description below for you to check out. But let's actually just take a listen to the song so we can hear what we're working with, and then I'm going to show you how I mix the backing vocals in this song.
I've been waiting minutes to be able to say that I'm over you. With every single second and every heart you take, I've lost all my love to give, but I still seem to wait for you. I'll wait for you, I'll wait for you. No, I'll wait, no, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you, I'll wait for you. No, I'll wait for you. It seems like you're only putting me down there. It seems like you're only putting me down. 'Cause I've been waiting hours, I've been waiting minutes to be able.
So you can hear from the song there is, it's just this nice acoustic vibe kind of track, and the backing vocals to me, especially in the middle 8 section, kind of really makes it kind of acts as a pad. You heard those oohs and ahs. So we've got it hard pan left and right. Again, in this case, we're just trying to create like a pad, just to add thickness going out of the chorus into the middle 8, and then it goes into the breakdown chorus. So we're going to solo the first two here. Now let's do the second layer. And then we got the third layer. And then we got the fourth layer that comes round on the second time round. So as you heard there, that's all of the layers together. Shout out to Stefano for doing that, because that was really good kind of vocal production, his end, on choosing the right harmonies and what is going to fit within the song. So you can see here that, we've got 8 layers in total, and they're all going to a bass. I've slapped a bit of autotune on just at 40. Again, Luch is obviously a great singer, but just the autotune just has a characteristic that I liked. So I went with it. I put it on all of them. You can see you've got hard left and right for each of the harmonies. Again, this is just creating thickness. So as you can see here, I've processed them all on the bus just because they're all doing the same thing. I want everything treated the same. So if we take all the plugins off and just listen to how it was recorded just raw. You can hear it was, nicely recorded by Luch himself. He did this himself. So shout out again to him for making the actual recording files that came to me sound decent. So the first thing that I did was I just wanted to kind of compress it. I used the R compressor because the R compressor is quite transparent. It doesn't give me a lot of tonal saturation from the compression itself. And that's exactly what I wanted. I just wanted to really just squash these oohs and ahs just to kind of flatten them so that they're, not a lot of dynamics within the mix itself. So they are just kind of punchy and just as a army of oohs within itself within the mix, if that makes sense. So the first thing I did was just compress it. I'm probably doing around 2 or 3 dB on this. Let's take a listen. I'm actually reaching 6 dB, so double what I thought. But if we just listen with this plugin on and off, you're going to really hear what that does kind of as a whole with the oohs and ahs. You can really hear there, I know there was a volume difference. It actually kind kind of got smaller when it was really compressed. But that was the point. I wanted them to be super controlled and squashed. It wasn't, you know, a lead vocal. I just wanted it to just be kind of sounding kind of over compressed in a way. I don't mind. I'm not afraid to really over compress backing vocals because I feel like it glues and sits better within the mix a lot of the time. That's what I did there. And then what I did was I wanted to put some EQ on here, and you can see here I'm just doing some basic filtering, taking out some low end, taking out some high end, you know, any of the high end sheen that just is not needed, and some boxiness. So let's have a listen what this is doing. Now let's have a listen with this plugin on, and then I'm going to bypass it and you're going to hear what it's doing. You really notice the top end of that. You know, a lot of people say that you kind of get this digital sound on some mics when you've got a lot of kind of that high end in. And by kind of taking out, I think I took up to around 10K off, it just allows the ooze to kind of be a little bit kind of more, you know, less bright, a bit more dead, more muffled sounding. And that kind of worked well with the creativity of what I was going for in my head, which was to create like a synth pad style thing in the middle A, but with vocals. Then after that, I decided to go into some compression. The compressor that I used was the Blueface 1176, and I love this compressor because it just adds a lot of kind of brightness. So I'm actually using this more for tonal character than I am for the compression, although I am probably still slamming it because of the nature of what I wanted these backing vocals to do. But let's just take a listen with this on. So there is a lot of compression. Again, I'm reaching around 6.7, so I'm doing about 12 dB of gain reduction across two compressors on this. And again, point being, you know, I was using the R compressor just to actually compress in a transparent way, and then I'm using the 1176 Blueface for kind of the brightness and the tonal characteristics, yet still compressing a lot. Again, just creating more control, and you can see that I've got it on the fastest release possible, and I've got it on kind of a medium to slow attack. Now, I wanted the ooze to still be kind of forward in the mix and not kind of pushed back too far, and so that's why I've got a quick release. If I wanted them more pushed back, I would have slowed the release down a little bit more. Now let's take a listen with this compressor on and off so you can really hear what that's doing in context. So, you know, you can really hear there that that compressor is adding a lot of character, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. I then went into one of my favorite EQs for adding kind of top end and brightness, and that is the Mark EQ. Now, because I took a load of high end out on the Pro Q3, I wanted to kind of reintroduce that back in within the Mark, but I did that again within context of the music. So let's actually take a listen to what that's doing, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll listen to it, we'll turn it off, and you're going to really hear what that's doing. So just adding that kind of really high end, that 40K and above. Again, you're not really going to hear that, but you're going to kind of feel that. So now let's bypass it, and then you're going to hear what that's doing. So it's subtle, but it's adding that top air, which is what I wanted. Then after that, I go into some Spectre, and I'm adding some mid-range with this. Now, mid-range is a tricky one because people, you know, often want to get a really good mid-range. They, you know, they class that as a really good mix. Now, mid-range can be dangerous because it can, you know, add boxiness to mixes. So a lot of people take mid-range out. But the problem is when you take mid-range out, you can make your kind of mix collapse. You can make it sound very thin. And so it's a real kind of push and pull on how to basically get it right. And in the lead vocal, I took a lot of the mid-range out because it was creating a lot of boxiness, the room sound where Lucha was recording. So what I did is I pushed it back into the backing vocals, and by pushing it back into the backing vocals, again, it's like this push and pull thing. So I took it out of the lead, but I brought it into the backing vocals, and that way it's kind of like I'm counteracting the move that I did, but I'm using it in a different element of the mix. And so, you know, in the mid lay, it has got the lead vocal in, but by having that mid range in the BV, it's supporting that lead vocal. And that's kind of my methodology when I'm mixing. You know, if I'm going to take something out of one thing, I want to, you know, put that back into another thing where it kind of works. It's a bit like a puzzle. So it's all about kind of making everything fit together. So here again, I'm doing a boost just under a dB at 533. So again, very subtle moves, but let's take a listen to what this is doing. Now let's listen with this on and off so you can hear it in context. Very subtle, but to my ears, it's just adding that kind of thickness. And it was just that little bit of thickness that I felt like it was missing when I didn't have that in. So to me, the Spectre was really important. And again, I use Spectre just because, you know, it's based off saturation and it's kind of saturating the vocals, but in the mid-range only. So it's giving me a bit more perceived mid-range than it is if I was just to use a standard EQ and just boost. So again, it's all about subtle differences, which is making a big difference overall. And then after that, I remember Luke saying to me, you know, I want this to kind of just be kind of a bit, you know, ethereal and big like in a church. So I just slapped Valhalla Vintage Verb on there. A lot of people love this one. 1980s Chaotic Chamber. I just went with it. So if we have a listen what this is doing. That's making a huge difference. Let's listen again with this on and off. Drastic difference there. That's, you know, putting that in a whole different space and kind of element within the mix itself. And I don't know why I went with this reverb setting. I just did. It sounded good to my ears. So if we now have a listen with this in context, and I would have probably had chosen this reverb and the amount again within context with the music. I think it's really important not to always solo things and to play it with the music, because at the end of the day, mixing is about what sounds good together. And if you are kind of soloing things, you're kind of blinded by what else is there at that moment in time in the mix. So again, when I was creating this reverb, the decay time 3.72 seconds, default 20 millisecond pre-delay, again, it was just a feel thing. I was just feeling it. Does it sound good to my ears when I play it in the music? You know, did Luch like it? He's the artist. He's the one that signs off the mix. He was happy, so we went with it. So, and again, just got some filtering, taking out some low end in the reverb only as well. I think EQ reverb is super important. I think a lot of people forget that. You know, EQing your returns, in this case, the Valhalla has it on within the plugin itself. But if it doesn't, then do it on the return, because it's super important, because you're going to get more control. You can use more reverb. And again, it's all about kind of creating a less muddy mix overall. So let's take a listen again with this in the track and let's hear what that is doing.
For you, it seems like you're only putting me down there. It seems like you're only putting me down, 'cause I've been waiting.
Now let's just do it without the processing, so completely raw in the mix.
For you, it seems like you're only putting me down there. It seems like you're only putting me down, 'cause I've been.
So, you know, it's completely different. And again, we were just trying to create a soundscape within the mix to kind of just make it to sound kind of full. As I said earlier, more of a pad. Luch wanted it kind of more ethereal, more kind of big space reverb, and have it as like an effect. And it's a bit like, as I said earlier, about having it as like a pad synth. It's kind of, that's kind of what you expect. So we recreated that, but just to be different, instead of using a pad, we decided to do it on vocals instead. So that was how I processed the backing vocals. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. And if you've got any questions about my process, or, you know, more about processing backing vocals, then definitely let me know in the comments and I'll get back to all of you. Also, don't forget, I'm running one-on-one mix consultation, so I'll leave a link to that in the description below as well. Don't forget to get yourself booked in, and that's it from me this week, and I'll see you again next week for another video.